Hello friends, today I am come with an interesting chapter in chemistry, that is chemical reactions and equations. The nature and the identity of the initial substance have somewhat changed. We have already learned about physical and chemical changes of matter in our previous classes. Whenever a chemical change occurs, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. Chemical reactions are those reactions in which there is a chemical change. We observe the changes around us. We can see that there is a large variety of chemical reactions taking place around us. A chemical equation is the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction in the form of symbols and formulae, where in the reactant entities are given on the left hand side and the product entities on the right hand side. We will study about the various types of chemical reactions and their symbolic representation in this chapter. Friends, let's go for a detailed study. Chemical reaction, a process in which one or more substances are converted to one or more different substances via the rearrangement of atoms. Change in state, change in color, evolution of a gas and change in temperatures are indicators of a chemical reaction. Friends, we can study about chemical equations at first. Description of a chemical reaction in a sentence form is quite long. It can be written in a shorter form. The simplest way to do this is to write it in the form of a word equation. A word equation shows change of reactants to products through an arrow placed between them. The reactants are written on the left hand side, that is LHS with a plus sign between them. Similarly, products are written on the right hand side or RHS with a plus sign between them. The arrowhead points towards the products and shows the direction of the reaction. Chemical equations can be made more concise and useful if we use chemical formula instead of words. Antoine Lavoisier introduced law of conservation of mass. We can write chemical reaction through this experiment. Clean a magnesium ribbon about 2 cm long by rubbing it with sandpaper. Hold it with a pair of tongues. Burn it using a spirit lamp or burner and collect the ash to form in a watch glass. We can observe that the magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame and changes into a white powder. This powder is called the magnesium oxide. It is formed due to the reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in the air. We can write this as Mg plus O2 gives MgO. Since the number of atoms of each element is not the same on the both sides, then the equation is unbalanced because the mass is not same on both sides of equation. Such a chemical equation is a skeletal chemical equation for a reaction. It is a skeletal chemical equation for the burning of magnesium in air. Words, the number of atoms of each element remains the same. Before and after a chemical reaction, we need to balance a skeletal chemical equation. During a chemical reaction, atoms of one element do not change into those of another element, nor do atoms disappear from the mixture or appear from elsewhere. Actually, chemical reactions involve the breaking and making of bonds between atoms to produce new substances. We can study types of bonds formed between atoms. They are combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. Calcium oxide and water combine to form a single product, calcium hydroxide. Such a reaction in which a single product is formed from 2 or more reactants is known as a combination reaction. Example, 2FeSO4 gives Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3. In this reaction, a single reactant breaks down to give simple products. This is a decomposition reaction. Decomposition of calcium carbonate to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide on heating is an important decomposition reaction used in various industries. Calcium oxide is called lime or quicklime. It has many uses. One is in the manufacture of cement. When a decomposition reaction is carried out by heating, it is called thermal decomposition. Example, Fe plus CuSO4 gives FeSO4 plus Cu. In this reaction, iron has displaced or removed another element, copper, from copper sulfate solution. This reaction is known as displacement reaction. Any reaction that produces a precipitate can be called a precipitation reaction. Reactions in which there is an exchange of ions between the reactants are called double displacement reactions. Reactions in which heat is given out along with the products are called exothermic reactions. Reactions in which energy is absorbed are known as endothermic reactions. Now, the last topic is oxidation and reduction. If a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be reduced. One reactant gets oxidized while the other gets reduced during a reaction. Such reactions are called oxidation reduction reactions or redox reactions. When a metal is attacked by substances around it such as moisture, acids, etc., it is said to corrode, and this process is called corrosion. The black coating on silver and the green coating on copper are other examples of corrosion. Corrosion causes damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships and to all objects made of metals, especially those of iron. Corrosion of iron is a serious problem. When fats and oils are oxidized, they become rancid and their smell and taste change. Usually, substances which prevent oxidation or antioxidants are added to food containing fats and oil. Keeping food in airtight containers helps to slow down oxidation. Now, let us see some important points to remember. That is, we have already learned in this chapter. First point, chemical equations, then types of chemical reactions, then oxidation and reduction, then corrosion and rancidity. Friends, here are some important questions. You have to find out the answer by yourself. So, moving to the first question, what do you mean by chemical equations? The second question is, what are the types of chemical reaction? Third one, define thermal decomposition. Next one, what is corrosion? And the next one is, define a double decomposition reaction. The last question is, what is the difference between combination reaction and decomposition reaction? Friends, this is the time to wind up our session. What we have learned in this chapter is about chemical reactions and equations. I hope all of you understood this lesson. We will reach on the next video. Bye.